Hey, Funkin' fans, please don't forget, you can always go to patreon.com/nice guys. Please make a donation for the show. We want to keep the lights on.
I have nothing to add. You did it so well, Strickland. Let's just get on with the show.
No, but you need to add something, Doug. Come on. Contribute, please.
Patreon.com/nice guys. That's the spot. Please, we are 100% funded by you all. And so far, we're 100% funded by you all. Let's just keep going.
As little as $2 a month. That's all we need. Thank you. Have you ever wanted to start a podcast of your own, but you just didn't even know where to start? I mean, it's so complicated.
It can be really complicated. Thank goodness we're here, Strick.
Our team can help you do everything. Intro and outro music, that cool guy with a really deep voice to introduce you, show art, show notes, audio production, hosting. We can even send you a microphone if you need one.
So if you are looking for a really unique creative marketing piece, turnkeypodcast.com is for you. We will take care of everything for you when it comes to creating a unique piece that you can send out to your market.
You need to be the expert in your field, and the best way to do that is through podcasting. We can create an entire podcast season for you that you can send out as a marketing piece to your customers, to your potential customers, and let them know that you are the expert in the field.
Call today for your free consultation. Just talk to one of the teammates that we have here at turnkeypodcast.com. Check it out. You're going to love it. It's going to be great.
Here's what's next on the Nice Guys on Business.
What about me? Did you see me? Did you know me? What can you do for me? And we see that a lot in leadership because leaders think it's about them. When a leader thinks that they are the only one person that can actually make something great, is the fact that we know we're in the wrong position of leadership, because leadership is about we. I serve you, and we together make something great. So anytime you hear a leader saying, me, I will make this great, we know we're in trouble.
Oh, Toto, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. Well, except maybe the Nice Guys on Business podcast. Need an education on how to grow your business? The Nice Guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Hey, Funkin' fans, welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Strickland Bonner. Are you interrupting already? I haven't even gone through my welcome backs.
You did that so well. I mean, I said, hey, just make this a good intro. Lolly is important to me, and then you just really played it completely straight, and I was wow. That was amazing.
I followed direction well,
you did.
And I'm remembering a couple weeks ago when you said I rushed through my welcome back. So I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to pay attention. Really, that's what it's all about. And Lolly, who is a coach and a consultant, it's really all about learning, isn't it?
Yeah, she's amazing. Okay, let me just start with a couple of really simple facts. Fact number one, I met Lolly just by happenstance. I happened to interrupt a conversation that she was having with Jeffrey Hazlett. Jeffrey just gave out a link for me to have a meeting with him, and the link was actually his Zoom room, you call it, when you go into an online room. Mm-hmm. And in this online room, he and Lolly were already having a conversation. And as soon as I saw her, I'm like, Lolly Daskal. And it's like I just got that deer in the headlights look, and it's like they were having a conversation. I interrupted and I walked into the room, and they both kind of looked at me, and I just could sense that it's like, Doug, just get over it, okay? Yes, we're having a conversation here. And so I just turned around and quickly said, I'm so sorry.
Well, the Huffington Post called Lolly Daskal the most inspirational woman in the world. That's a high bar to set.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy for a couple of reasons. One, because she wanted to actually have a conversation with us. That's number one. The second thing that's crazy is she has like 1 point. I don't. Are you on Twitter? I know you're on Twitter.
I'm on Twitter, but I'm just not there very often. Yeah.
I just want to just very just let me just. She's got 1.2 million followers.
It's crazy.
I don't even know 1.2 people. She's got 1.2 million followers. She's got this book called The Leadership Gap that is just about to come out. And very interesting, her goal for The Leadership Gap not only is to get into a lot of people's hands, but she wants to hit the ground running on day one to be a New York Times bestseller. That requires selling a shit ton of books. So she's not looking for 1 or 2 books to be sold as a part of being on the show. She's looking for thousands of books to be sold for being a part of the show. And I think that we are up for the task. And I'd love to help her do it, because if we do, she's the one that wrote the article about us for Inc. Online.
Oh, yeah, that we're one of the most 12 influential podcasts to listen to right now. I guess we need to prove that now, right?
Yeah, for leaders, if you're a leader, we're one of the 12 podcasts that you want to listen to. And we use that as our right on my website and right on the Nice Guys on Business website as well. And what's great about what Lolly does is she's not just a talker, she walks the walk as well. And overnight, our podcast numbers spiked at least 20%. I don't even know what the numbers were. That's when we started going from like 40,000 downloads a month. That 1 month that we went to 60, that was April. Crazy. And that was the month that Lolly wrote the article. So.
All right, so what you're saying is we need to return the favor to Lolly. I mean,
yes.
She is really amazing when it comes to leadership, and she's got a great blog that talks about leadership. She's from New York. Did I tell you I'm going up to New York in a couple of weeks with my daughter to go see a college up there? We're going to go see a show. We're going to I think we're going to see Spamalot. Is that still playing on Broadway?
I don't know if it's still playing, but good luck on that. I would go to see Wicked if I were you.
I saw Wicked on Broadway actually like 2 months ago. It was amazing. This is about Dolly. We really shouldn't. Let's get back on track.
Let's talk about that tomorrow show. We'll get back to that tomorrow. So let's get to the interview with Lolly. Before we do that, just really briefly, if you're listening on Overcast, we appreciate you listening. Please make sure that you are recommending the episodes on Overcast. You just have to hit the little star button. You can go back a whole bunch of episodes and do that as well. And that's it. We are proud to be affiliated with the C-Suite Radio Network. And let's see, did we already do the promise statement to provide a learning experience, or to provide an experience that is entertaining and adds value to your life? We didn't do that yet, did we?
You just did it.
I guess we just did.
You just did it.
All right.
Proud to be affiliated with the C-Suite Radio Network.
Oh, and also the Greatness Podcast Network as well.
We're just networking all over the place.
Gosh, this is amazing. We are in demand, Strick.
We're learning from Lolly.
We really are. All right, let's get to the interview with Lolly Daskal right here on what's the name of this podcast?
What is Nice Guys on Business.
Thanks. Let's do it. Only a few times in one's career do you actually get to connect with a person that embodies everything that she really teaches. I mean, to the core, no bullshit, people. Truly personified magic. No smoke, no mirrors. Like, roll up the sleeves, hard work, and magic. So, Lolly Daskal is that leader's leader. You just hope to find whether you're going to work at a big company and have her negotiating the deal for you, or your one-on-one was negotiating as an entrepreneur. Everyone, and I mean everyone I've connected Lolly with over the last couple of months since getting to know her has been captured so much by her spell. And she's totally not a magician. She's just an inspiration. Mega social influencer and author of the soon-to-be released book, The Leadership Gap. Welcome, Lolly, to the Nice Guys.
I am so happy to be here. It's a true honor.
Lolly, I've introduced you to like 700 people, and you've like made my ratings go through the roof, and finally you get here. And the reason that it took so long is because I think I was whining a little bit, and I had to complain. I had a hangnail or something. I had to go away, but I came back. I'm ready.
Yeah, you canceled a few times, but now here we are today.
My hair wasn't ready, Lolly. I had to have my hair perfect, and my hair, I'm feeling it's perfect right now.
Okay, I'm happy, Doug.
So you have a book coming out. So I hear. It's like I can't avoid hearing it everywhere. Social media, news, blog posts, other people's podcasts. You're like the hardest working person that I have ever seen. So talk about the book a little bit. Where is that magic, Lolly? What's it all about?
So the book is called The Leadership Gap, What Gets Between You and Your Greatness. Most people, they get to a certain stand in their life, a certain place in their life, and they wonder why they're not able to take themselves to the next level. Mm-hmm. And what I have found with working with leaders and entrepreneurs around the world is that within us, we have this polarity, this character within us that sometimes keeps us from our greatness, keeps us from our success. And in my research and in the work that I've done with leaders around the world, I found that I can put them in a system of 7, call them leadership styles, 7 archetypes, that if you know them, you embody them, you can be that kind of person who can take themselves to the next level. You can be the person that unleashes your greatness. But this is what's very important. Within those leadership styles, there is a polarity, there is a gap, that if we end up leading from that, it costs us our greatness.
Well, it's interesting because I would say that in the leaders, many of the leaders, most of the leaders that I have had a chance to work with in my entire career, they have been elevated to their position of leadership, which is that little state of their incapability and their inability to actually lead. So they keep getting promoted, and finally they get promoted to this position where they actually can't lead from. What is it about companies in general that keep elevating people to a point where they finally are? I can't remember how's the saying go? You're elevated to a position of your unreasonable nature or something like that. You can't lead because you're inefficient at this level. Have you ever heard of that?
Absolutely. And that's why this book is so different, because you might not know this, Doug, but I read a book a day. Oof. And I read about leadership books, and I read about business books because it helps me with coaching with my clients. But I found there was a void. Most of them talk about skills. Most of them talk about how. Most of them talk about when and where. And a few years ago, someone we know very well, Simon, created the why. We have to ask why. And what I found is that we were missing the foundational element of who. So all those leaders, all those managers that get promoted to leaders, they got promoted because of their skills, because of their talents, but they forgot to take into effect and they forgot to take into the tally of who they are being. If we don't have who you are being in your greatness, you're most likely leading from your gap. So that's why you have a lot of leaders that don't measure up because they got promoted through their skills and not for who they are foundationally.
How do you work around that, though? I mean, when you go into big organizations, well, big or small, even in smaller organizations that have 10 people that work for them, and you have, just a business owner that thinks that they know everything, but what they really need is to bring in somebody else that probably is a better leader than they are. How are you able to do this self-analysis?
So that's why this book is so profound and so important, because there is a void. This information that I write about, the 7 leadership styles that you have to have and the virtues that come with it, doesn't exist out there, because most of them will tell you about the how, right? And most of them will talk about the skills. If you read this book, you will you can almost be your own coach, right? You could almost have your own inner guide and ask yourself at any given moment, am I leading from my greatness or am I leading from my gaps? By learning this system, it's called the Rethink system. And the reason why I wrote this book is because many years ago when I first started out, it's exactly what you said. There was this void. People were being promoted. People were in positions that they had no clue what it was to excel. And they were doing badly. And HR directors and board of trustees were calling me and saying, you better groom that, make him into a leader, make her into a leader, and you have 6 weeks to do it. And I said, I'm good, but I'm not that good. And they were like, work your magic. And I can do it, and everybody can do it for themselves, but we have to concentrate on the right things first. First, you have to have the foundation right before you get everything else right.
I want to talk about one of the things, and I've gone through and read a bunch of your blog posts, even ones that are from years ago. I want to quote you, and then I want to talk about it for a second. It's always good when somebody's about to quote you, and you're like, did I say that? I don't remember writing that, but okay. Here it is. So, to achieve something significant in the world, to have a meaningful influence, you need to be a rebel. Aren't most rebels just people that want to be rebellious? Or is there actually some method to their madness of being rebellious?
What a great question. And I remember writing that because it's something that I say often, and most of my clients will call that a lollyism. These are the things that I keep repeating because most people do think a rebel is someone, right? Like you just talked about this warrior. In my book, I talk about the book opens up with the rebel, the story of a rebel. And you know who the rebel is?
I'm going to go you.
No, it's not. It picks this little woman who's made the biggest impact in our lives. She was the one who changed the way the Girl Scouts of America run today. If you meet this woman, she's 4'11", right? But she is a rebel. a rebel that's out there that revolutionized a whole industry. If you walk into her office, Frances Hesselbein has medals and honors from every president that you can think of. But what makes her a rebel is the confidence that she has. And she has the confidence in her capabilities and competence. That's what I talk about when we talk about a rebel. It's that gentle warrior that knows what they're really good at. Their capabilities and their competence gives them the confidence to change a whole industry. And that's who Frances Hesselbein is.
Yeah, she was an amazing leader. Girl Scouts, you never think that you're going to find a rebel. And another one of the leaders of the, probably an inspiration to Connie Fife, who was one of the CEOs of the Girl Scouts as well, who was a guest on our show. It seems like those people that are put in that position understand that it's very hard to lead it's an institution that involves little girls. You would not necessarily think that a rebel is going to be running a little girl organization, but it's a really big people organization as well. So even in the most inconspicuous positions, you find people that are definitely taking a rebellious position.
Well, it depends how you look at rebel. Rebel is not a revolutionary. It's not somebody who's about revolting. It's just someone who wants to make an impact. It's someone who wants to make a difference. It's someone who wants to change the status quo. That's the rebel.
So share for a second, because you have a very loyal following, and I watch your interaction on social media, and you have some, I don't even know the number. It's like 1.4 million or 1.5 million people that follow you on Twitter. I have no idea how you can keep up with that feed, but a really, really loyal following too. And that's got to be the mark of a great leader. So, but there are often times that people, and I'm not saying that you're in this position, but there are times when people that are in a position of leadership make mistakes. It's bound to happen. What's a good leader do when they make a mistake?
Well, first I want to talk about why I have that loyal following. And it talks about a leadership quality that I embody. One of the things that I do is first and foremost, I am of service to others. If you read my stream, it's all about how can I serve you? How can I give you more confidence? How can I have you feel more capable? How can I show you how to lead with integrity? How can I teach you about trust? So everything I do is of service to others. And in my book, actually, I talk about one of these archetypes, which is the knight. The knight is about serving others and is loyal to others, which I am to people who follow me, opposed to the leadership gap of the mercenary, which the leaders, what have you done for me lately? They're all self-serving, right? It's like, what about me?
Right.
Did you see me? Did you know me? What can you do for me? And we see that a lot in leadership because leaders think it's about them. When a leader thinks that they are the only one person that could actually make something great, is the fact that we know we're in the wrong position of leadership, because leadership is about we. I serve you, and we together make something great. So anytime you hear a leader saying, me, I will make this great, we know we're in trouble.
Yeah, it's trouble. And there have been a number of leaders that have been in my past that they have a whole throng of people that are following them. And it's interesting to find and watch the unfortunate demise of a leader like that. And it's oftentimes it's not a peaceful demise. It oftentimes goes kicking and screaming. Everybody's got kryptonite though. So, somebody's got some weaknesses and we have an Achilles heel. Do you have any of that? What is yours?
One of the things that I do, and I try to do this at every given moment, is to really be authentic and present in the moment. So if I'm talking to you, I try to be present with you. I kibitz with you. I meet you face to face. It's almost I'm only concentrating on what you're talking to me about. Mm-hmm. I found this to be very helpful because I coach at a very high level, and you have CEOs, you have entrepreneurs who are very busy, always distracted. But if I can pay attention to who they are and give them the undivided attention, then I find it becomes a mirror relationship. What I give, I receive. And so I think that's also a very important aspect of a leadership trait. If you want something from your people, you first have to give it yourself. So if you want trust or respect or loyalty, you first have to give it yourself. So I give undivided attention to who I'm coaching with, and they don't know anything else is happening in anywhere else in the world. It's only about them. And I think that's my kryptonite. I think it's the way I can do undivided attention and ask open-ended questions, which makes them feel empowered. They have the answer within them to solve the problem, is something that has kept me to be sustainable after 3 decades of being a coach.
Can't believe you've been doing 3 decades of anything. From the cover photo, Nice Guy Community, you got to get to the photo on the cover. She's got this shocking blonde hair contrasted by a dark top. And you look good. You look good, Lolly, for somebody that has 30 years of experience at anything.
Oh, thank you. I'm a true New Yorker, so wherever I go in the world, they even know I'm a New Yorker. When I'm in California, they're like New Yorker. When I'm in the Netherlands, they go New Yorker, because I always dress in black, and they pick me out in a crowd.
So as a part of being a leader, oftentimes we have to find our source of motivation and inspiration from someone that's outside of our industry. Is there anybody that's outside of your industry, outside of the leadership world, that you pull inspiration from?
Absolutely. There's 3 of them. I have 3 mentors, and I have memorized everything they've ever said, everything they've ever thought, but I've never met them.
Wow.
And these 3 mentors are, and this is what actually helped me create my Rethink system over 3 decades ago. It's Viktor Frankl, it's Joseph Campbell, and it is Carl Gustav Jung. These 3 mentors, once I read their books and their teachings and their lectures, my life changed. It was all of a sudden things started to connect the dots, and the clients that I was working with that I wasn't able to get deeper or go to the next level with, I was able to find the answers that I needed from their teachings. And so they've been my mentors over and over again. So I mentioned I read a book a day. Viktor Frankl's book, I read every single year on my birthday. When my birthday comes around, I always pick up his book, because this is what I found to be true. If, let's say, I read the book when I was in my 20s, I understood the book at a certain level. When I turned 30, the book became a different book. When I turned 40, I found insights I didn't get when I was 30. And so if you have a good mentor, if you have a good book, if you have a relationship that's meaningful to you, revisit things that are important, because then you learn things in new ways. You know, don't always think you know everything. I revisit things over and over again.
I get the same thing out of Dr. Seuss's One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish. I don't know, or Fox in Socks. I don't know. Every time I read that, I get a different version. I don't know if it's the 20-year-old.
Okay, he's making fun of what I just said, but it's true what I mean. It's very there's truth.
The only reason I make fun or jest a little bit is because the sheer fact that you're able to read a book a day. I love that, and it also makes me feel like, and again, we've had this conversation, and so I'm going to open here a little bit, just so you're aware. We have this conversation, Lolly and I, Nice Guy Community, as you're listening into this. I get on the phone, and literally within 5 minutes, it feels like you have me on the operating table, and you're opening me up, and you're fixing me, because I feel like, holy shit, all of these things that I want to talk about with everybody and have no balls to talk about with anybody. For some reason, within 5 minutes of that initial conversation, Lolly, you had me talking. Now, that there's a certain skill set that's involved in that. So help me understand what that is that you get people to do that so quickly.
So one of the archetypes in my book I talk about is a navigator. A navigator is very good at looking at a situation, is able to connect the dots, is able to see what's actually going on, but they don't fix it, because the leadership gap of the navigator is the fixer, someone who jumps in and says, oh, Doug, we just talked about this. Well, you need to fix it by doing this, this, and that. All I did on the phone the first time we met was ask you questions and really listen to what you were saying. And then through truly listening, I realized what you don't own owns you. And it was by listening and knowing that as a psychologist and reading about philosophy, is that there were things that you weren't owning that were owning you in that moment in our conversation. And I just said, and I asked you a question about it, and you said, oh, yeah.
It was right. It was like some epiphany. I'm like, holy shit, why have I never thought? I don't even remember what it was anymore. And you probably do, because you remember everything. It's like I didn't understand how you could get me that quickly, which in the pages of a book, like the book that you've written, The Leadership Gap, I'm sure that they jump out of the page and they're like, people will relate, just like you said at the books that you've read. They're going to hit people at home in a spot where they need to be hit at home right now.
And it's interesting that you say that. 2 things. Yes, I remember exactly what it was, but for your privacy, I won't repeat it. And number 2,
oh shit, I have no privacy. You're welcome to say it if you want to.
It was about why you call yourself a nice guy. It was about that.
Oh,
and
yeah, I do
secondly,
remember.
You do remember that?
Yeah,
okay.
I do remember.
And secondly, people that have read this book because there's some galleys that went out to some individuals, people wrote me back these wonderful comments. I'm on every single page of this book. Did you write this about me? Because this is me. You know me on a way that no one knows me. And so it's in the book. People will find themselves on every single page and know what to do about the things that keep them stuck. They will learn how to leverage the parts of them that maybe they are not so proud of.
Right.
And why they have to call themselves the nice guy.
Oh, geez, there you go. I knew it was coming around to me eventually. I'm like, where the hell? How's she going to make this point? But yes, you made it well. So before we get more into the embarrassing side of me, I want to just talk about the process of writing the book. How I wrote a book. It took me 20 weeks. The reason I put it together in 20 weeks is because my coach told me you have 20 weeks to write this book, 10 pages a week for the next 20 weeks. And that was the only way I felt like I needed to be told, here's your level of accountability that you need. So for me, that was like the perfect style of leadership. He said, this is what you need to do. I usually do what I'm told to do. When I'm not told what to do, I have a very challenging time. But it's different things for different people. So how did the process of writing the book come to you? Easily or challenging?
So I work fully every single day, all the time, coaching and traveling. I'm always on a plane or a train or an automobile. So I'm very busy doing what I do. And I found that in the very beginning, I was writing between the hours of 12 and 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. But then I have to get up at 4:30 to read a book. And so it was taking a very long time. And it wasn't working. And the truth is, this book is almost the first layer of what I do. There's so much more than what I do, but I kept writing and writing, stream of consciousness writing. And then I had to take off 4 weeks in the summer and just say, write this book. And that's what I did. I took off from work, I wrote the book, and I looked at my notes, and then the book came. And the interesting thing is I wanted the book to be called something else. And 192 titles before we actually came up with what it is right now. But I wanted to call it the Rethink System because it's an acronym for the 7 archetypes. And my publisher said that was stupid. So we had to come up with something else. But it doesn't matter. You know, the name is important because I think names are important. But the content, that's my teachings. That's what I've been coaching. That's what makes a difference in a leader's life. It's the difference between an effective leader and a great leader. And we all want to be greatness. We all want to find greatness within us. Effective is good. It's like the difference between thriving and surviving. Right? We don't want to just survive. We want to thrive.
Right. How are you at negotiating? You've got, I can only imagine what that conversation sounded like between you and either your publicist or you and your publisher. How did that work? Am I allowed to ask that? Interesting.
It was interesting. Interestingly enough, I'm really good negotiating for my clients than I am for myself.
Yeah. It's very hard when there's some personal skin in the game. It's a little bit more challenging. At least that's the way I find it is for me.
You know, for 30 years, I've been calling it the Rethink System. So all of a sudden, someone gives it a new name. I'm like, who's that baby? Do I know that baby?
Right. That's true. Hey, share a glass ceiling that needs to be shattered when it comes to leadership.
Interesting. What do you think it is?
Well, it's a funny question because as I was reading some of the information, in no way, shape, or form did I start to think that there's a glass ceiling on women in leadership. But then again, that's what originally came to my mind. And then I thought about you in this process. I'm like, Lolly has absolutely no ceiling. There's nothing that leads me to believe that you feel like there's a glass ceiling when it comes to leadership for you. So that's why I then started thinking, well, what's the question? Where is the glass ceiling in leadership when it comes to your thought process?
You know, it's interesting. For me, there's no glass ceiling. You're spot on. But there is a glass ceiling when it comes to women and leadership. So I'm happy you brought that up because most of the time, I'm the only woman sitting at the boardroom. Most of the time, at the level of where I coach, I'm not coaching women, I'm coaching men. So there is a glass ceiling. But sadly enough, and I've been in this for a long time, I've got a lot of skin in this game, is that when there are women that make it to the top, they then want to be coached to act like a man. And I say, that's not going to work. We need feminine power. I'll never forget, I was sitting on a panel Am I allowed to say this at NYU? I'm going to say it anyway.
Sure, why not? Good.
So sitting on a panel, they were talking about leadership, and there were 5 of us on this panel, and each woman was talking about what it takes to make it in the business. And they were saying, cut your hair, dress a certain way. And I got up and I said, I don't belong on this panel because I don't believe anything that these women are saying.
Yeah.
I have long hair. I am myself. I don't know anything else how to be. You have to be who you are and celebrate that. And they were giving all the, don't dress a certain way, don't wear heels, wear flats, put on suits, have short hair. I was like, that is not me.
No,
and
that sounds like Hillary Clinton. That's what that sounds like.
Okay.
Put your pantsuit on, girl. Let's go.
Okay, scratch that because we don't name names. But
well, that's not you. I said it. You didn't say it. You
Okay.
disagree with me. I'm okay. Unless you tell me to edit it out, then I'll go ahead and edit it out. But geez, Lolly.
I will never ask you to edit anything that you say because you are uniquely you. And I would be going against what I believe.
See, Dr. Seuss, I'm telling you, I feel very confident that Dr. Seuss is following me around asking me to read it. Sorry, go ahead.
No, but I think that is the glass ceiling. When women become high-powered women, they start to sound like men and act like men, and that is the worst thing that they can do.
Okay, but take me to the other side of it for a second. Are women that are in a position of leadership, and this it doesn't have to turn into a conversation about women in leadership, and this was not my agenda at all, but can women in a leadership position still be sexy, still be very feminine, or do they need to be hardcore and completely iron ruled with their style?
So I would take out the word sexy, but I would say let's tap into feminine power. Feminine power doesn't have to be sexy, and it doesn't, you don't have to look a certain way, but you have to act a certain way. Men and women are different, right? We have different skills. Women, I find, that are really good at negotiations. They're really good at looking at a the problem at a helicopter view and then connecting the dots. Sometimes they can do it faster than men. So the thing is, I like to do this. You're asking me an interesting question, but it goes against what I usually do in coaching. I don't try to find what is different. I try to find what is uniquely the same.
Okay.
So when I teach in leadership with women, when I do conferences, when I do keynotes, and I just spoke at an event where there were 5,000 women entrepreneurs sitting in a room, and they were like, what's your secret sauce? I said, the secret sauce lies within you. What differentiates you? Celebrate that. But we come together to make a difference in the world. So I like to bring what we can come together on and what can make us, we're different, but what do we have that's common that will propel us to the next level? Yeah. And that's how I like to teach if I was to coach women, that's what I would coach them in.
Well said. Well, we need to put more women in a position of leadership. They need to earn that position of leadership. Definitely. I feel like if you were their coach, they could do nothing wrong at that point.
Well, we need to see them across the board as CEOs in boards. How many boards do I sit on? And there's no women. I'm the only woman. It's sad.
Yeah. We can fix that. No more Dr. Seuss in the boardroom, though.
No.
So, Lolly, we got a goal here. We have a goal, and we need to get a bunch of these books out the door because in order for you, I want to see you on the New York Times bestseller list. Listen, it's great to be on the Amazon list, and it feels really good to be, a number one bookseller in Amazon. But New York Times, Wall Street Journal, the big boys, the big women, the big people, that's where we need to have you. So, what do we have to do in order to get you there?
So if your leadership is important to you, if you want to stand in your greatness, and if you're stuck and you might be worried that you're leading from your gap, this book is for you. Go to the leadershipgapbook.com. Don't only pre-order one book, but get books for your team, for your organization, and learn the language and the leadership styles that you need to be the best version of who you are.
Yeah, Lolly is on a mission, and I want to help her achieve that. Nice Guy community, just so you're aware, and I know that you know this already because we promote this ad nauseum on the show, but Lolly wrote an article and included us in the article. Literally overnight, our listenership, our download count spiked 20%, and it has not turned back since then. It was not just a flash in the pan. It was people actually listening to the show, liking the show, all because Lolly just happened to mention our name in an article with 11 other podcasters. So I'm telling you, her word is good. So get over to her website. We'll make sure we put the link in the show notes so that you have access to it. If you have a team, make sure you buy books for everybody on your team. It will be well worth the investment. And Lolly does not forget. She will come back on the show, and she will have more great things to share when she comes back on the show as well. Right, Lolly?
We didn't even dive into anything that's in the book, so I need to come back.
Oh, okay. We can get you back. Well, Lolly, we only have a half hour to have the show. We figured we'd talk about all the stuff that we thought we would talk about, and I knew what was going to happen. I wrote all of these notes down. I haven't had a chance to even look at my notes.
That's okay. Invite me back for tea or coffee, and we'll have another great conversation.
We will definitely do it. And before I let you go, one other question. I need to know this. So pretend you get an invitation in the mail, Lolly. All right. So you're invited to this event, this wonderful event, wherever it is. I don't know, but you can paint your own picture of where this event is. At the bottom left-hand corner of the invitation, there is a dress code. So it says something optional. It says this is what's preferred. What is that dress code that you want to see?
In the event, or that I'm wearing?
Oh, well, okay. So you're gonna be a rebel, and you're not gonna follow the dress code that's on the invitation. But the invitation has a certain dress code. What is it that you want the dress code to say?
Interesting. Anything that represents you, that's what you should wear.
Oh, okay. So, let me play this out for a second. I've never asked a follow-up question to this, but, so it says, black tie optional. So if it says black tie optional, what would your attire be?
I'm very boring. I always wear a very classic black dress.
She's in black. Okay.
I'll tell you something interesting, because somebody asked me on another podcast, are you the wizard or the man behind the curtain? And I'm the man behind the curtain, only because I stand behind these great men and groom them to be even better than who they are. And so I'm always, I think of myself as that I have to be invisible in order to make them shine. So it would be that simple, classic black dress.
Okay. All right, Lolly, I'll accept that. That's a good answer, actually. And you followed it up with a good explanation. So it definitely, it makes sense. So do you have you have an iPhone, or do you have something inferior?
I have an iPhone.
Excellent. Do you have it anywhere near you?
It's in the other room.
No, you don't have to go and get it. You probably know the answer to this question. Do you remember the last message that you sent or received?
Yes, I sent it to my daughter, and she wrote, "I love you," and I wrote, "I love you more." Oh,
that is so nice. It's so mom-like. I just had does your daughter, does she still call you mommy?
Mama, yeah, mama, something like that.
Yeah, I still call my mom mommy. my mom, I won't say her age because she would kill me if I say her age, but my stepdad passed away about a year and a half ago, and my mom had her first date just last week. Well, it's actually her second date. It was like the rebound date after the first date that she had. And she's like, oh my God, it's so horrible. The people, I don't want to go out with somebody this old. I'm like, well, Mom, you got to consider the source every once in a while. You're lovely, but you're not a spring chicken.
I know, but she feels youthful inside. So tell her. Totally. She should celebrate that. Maybe she can get somebody younger. You never know.
I think
Give her that challenge. Maybe she'll live up to it.
Yeah, she's on Tinder. I don't like this idea. I don't like this.
She's on Tinder?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know if she knows what Tinder is. She uses Tinder to light a fire, I think. Jeez, Lolly, thank you so much for not only being on the show today, but for everything that you've done to help make the show such a success behind the scenes. Again, you are truly that person behind the curtain, and you've done a great job of being that wizard in our particular position. So thank you, Lolly, for everything that you did.
Doug, it was such a pleasure and a true honor.
I will continue to make these amazing introductions for you, because you are nothing but amazing. So thank you so much. Nice Guy community, never underestimate the power of nice. Again, special thanks to Lolly. Go out and buy her book. No, don't buy her book. Buy thousands of her book. No, just buy 100 or even 10, but 100 would be better than maybe 1,000. Let's go with 1,000. Well, whatever it is.
If 10 people bought 1,000, we can be on the New York Times bestseller.
We're going to do it together. I'm going to continue to promote. So thank you, everybody. Again, Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
You've put enough in little Johnny's 529. Now, it's time to really help out someone in need. The nice guys on business need your support. Please go to patreon.com, and for as little as $2 a month, you can help these guys continue to ramble on and on and on, week after week after week. Thank you for your support. And boy, is it weak.